JDV, welcome to... Oh, hang on. Let's try that again.
Because I do 1,300.
Welcome back to the Go Track, everybody, the podcast about golf and golf-adjacent stuff, mostly from Africa, playing a little two-ball this evening and trying something very experimental. JDV, we apparently are live this evening on Instagram. Nice to see you.
How's it, T? Yeah, flipping exciting week for me, for you, for South African golf enthusiasts. Super keen to dive into today and dive into an aeroplane to get to Joburg tomorrow.
That's great. Yeah, what are you flying up tomorrow morning?
I'm flying up tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to get a sneaky little bit of golf in at Cotswold. I'd had plans to go into the office and sort of do a morning and then go from there to the airport. And I was like, nah, fuck it. I'm just gonna get into the spirit and play a bit of golf. So,
JDV, I'm being told that our video on Instagram is coming through in a bit of a challenging format. I don't think it's fully lined up with the phone, but I'll try and troubleshoot that. But anyway, we'll try and press on and deal with some of these issues down the line. We are proper rookies at this. There's a reason why this podcast is called the Go Track. It's because we are legitimate Go Track hackers ourselves when it comes to media in particular. But what a day, JDV. Had a great intro day at LIV Golf today. Got up crack of dawn. Got in the old vehicle and belegged it through from Durban to LIV. Yeah, I got there about midday and just found my feet and just took a good old walk around the golf course. And it was I have to say it is very, very, very impressive what they have done and what they have built out at the course. I was expecting to be impressed, but I must say I think it sort of the build out and that has kind of exceeded my expectations. It really does look amazing, and they've gone to a lot of effort and a lot of care has been taken with a lot of details around there, which kind of blew me away in some aspects. So, look, the proof will be in the pudding. I know there's already a curveball that's been thrown at a lot of fans by the fact that they've changed the tee-off time. They've moved it forward 2 hours to 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So I'm not sure if you realize that.
I didn't know that. I thought it was 12:15.
Yeah, the new tee-off time is at 10:15 tomorrow morning.
Was it the storms that they're worried about?
They are expecting to have another heavy set of storms tomorrow afternoon, sometime after 2 o'clock.
Wow. Okay. Well, breaking news.
Breaking news, yeah. Sorry, guys, if you've... for those people who joined our Instagram live video, we are aware that the video screen is a bit funny. We're going to try and resolve that, but we're proper rookies at this. So we'll do our best to get to the bottom of that. I did see some people commented on the video already saying you can see half of my face and half of your face.
Do you just ask the IT producer in the back to sort that out, man?
Yeah. James. Yeah, he's not here. He's not listening. But guys, we're recording this as a podcast, so we will put the goal really is, as per normal, please just download the podcast. We will try and get it up this evening, so you can listen to it tomorrow morning or even later this evening. But if we can't get to the bottom of the video issue, which is probably unlikely that we will, then I will have to stop sharing.
Go back to episode 1 and just hear how cuck our audio and how bad we were at this, and then realize that this is number one of us trying to live stream Instagram, and you've just got to use that as your comparison.
Correct.
I must say, having comparing ourselves with Ben and with Taki, who are obviously seasoned professionals, T, it does make one step back and say, shit, okay, well, there is a difference in the guys whose day job it is and us hacks who sort of bumbling through this. But T, I wanted to make a couple of points. You said they've taken a lot of attention and care to detail. Is that a South Africa specific thing, or is that just LIV Golf in general? I know you haven't, globe-trotted and gone to all of the other various LIV Golf tournaments. But I'm interested to know, do you think this is South Africa putting their best foot forward? Do you think they're taking the same attention to detail in Singapore and Hong Kong, etc.? Or like I'm saying, I suppose the best way to put it, is this a LIV Golf thing or is this a South Africa thing?
Sure. I honestly can't comment, JDV. I think this is a LIV Golf thing, though. I think that they've got a well-oiled events team now, and I could tell that by the number of people on the ground, like I guess LIV employees that I kind of bumped into today or just saw around. They just have a very, very big team of people here. Yeah. They seem to have LIV's in their 4th season now. So, they obviously know what works, what doesn't work. I would say that this event is obviously I think they have different scale events, and I think they're starting to learn that now. So this is definitely, they've geared this up, I think, to be what I would consider to be like a mega event. And yeah, the build out represents that with the big stands, the party hall, all the facilities around the club. I think they're expecting a big turnout. I think they've seen that through the ticket sales. Whereas if you compare it to like last week, obviously very, very different type of LIV events, which was a bit of a tough scene on TV, to be honest. When you're watching it on TV, it wasn't great. So yeah, I think. Look, also, we just aren't used to having events of this scale on golf courses in South Africa. And outside of the $1 million, we don't really have any precedent. The last massive event that was held here was the Ryder Cup. The President's Cup. And so
that'd be sick.
If you have been to the Nedbank a few times and you're familiar with like the type of infrastructure that they put up around like the 18th green and the first tee at the Nedbank, then it's probably kind of familiar. It will be similar to that. There's just probably a lot more stands, a lot more hospitality. It's probably on a similar scale to Nedbank, maybe just with a bit more of a modern look and feel, and just like a bit more energy, obviously.
So T, you mentioned that they're gearing it up, and I think that's a good point. It can't be like a one size fits all. For these LIV Golf tournaments. I mean, the sort of the turnout in Riyadh versus the turnout in Adelaide is miles apart. But it is interesting because it reminded me of the comments that Dean Burmester made that I was listening on one of the other podcasts, where he said, under old management, and I imagine he was sort of referring to the Great White Shark, that they had looked at South Africa previously and it hadn't made sense in their models to come to South Africa because it didn't look like they would get the interest or the crowds. We were sort of digesting that previously, saying, well, why haven't they come to South Africa? And we said, well, maybe it's, a business interesting, if you're looking at LIV Golf as, what the hospitality and the corporate hosting would be, maybe South Africa isn't there with some of the other markets. But if it was something to do with public interest in the event, shit, well, I mean, the sales, 100,000 tickets sold. I think it's sold out. I mean, it just goes to show that there's obviously a massive, massive need or a want and demand for this sort of event. And I mean, you can see from the hype, from all of that. So I thought that was a very interesting comment from Dean Burmester to say, it looked like an AI modeling previously as to why it didn't come to South Africa. And obviously, if that is the case, completely wrong.
Yeah, I think that must have been the frustrating part for, I guess, the South African contingent, because they would have known the type of crowds that we were capable of pulling. Just trying to translate that to to the guys, to the LIV guys, to say, look, we really believe that you are going to be able, we are going to get this amount of people. We're a sporting mad nation. Look, I'm sure there's a variety of other reasons, JDV, why it's taken as long as it has taken. But you know what? Credit to the South African LIV contingent and guys and Gayton McKenzie. I know that he was involved in that and obviously Steyn City, I think, in getting it here. And let me tell you, yeah, it's absolute stroke of genius, JDV, having it at Steyn City. I've never been to Steyn City property, but vis-a-vis our conversation we had last podcast where we spoke about the SA Open Rota and the type of logistical space that you need in order to have a successful event. Steyn City at the moment are super fortunate in that they have a huge portion of a land which is adjacent to the golf course, which is essentially part of it's one of the phases of Steyn City, which has been completely serviced and leveled and all of that.
The LIV phase.
There just haven't been any houses built on it yet. I'm assuming maybe it hasn't been sold yet or transferred. It's at that stage, and essentially now the whole build out, the engine of the fan village, the first tee, the 18th green, that whole like hub is essentially on that land, which one day someone will build a house there and they'll be able to say that like 10 years ago this was like this, in their garden was like the LIV fan village, because it's legitimately at some point will become people's houses. I'm sure that's the long-term intention.
Like an archaeological dig, they'll dig up some castle light bottle and be like, shit, yeah, that's a remnant of the LIV golf tournament.
Yeah. Let's hope that's all they dig up. It might be a lot more than that. But yeah, look, I don't want to get too over the top. I just wanted to say that like first impressions were really good today. I think JDV getting into some of the layout details around the golf course, I think for people attending, what's quite important to
So hang on, T. It's a golf cart. Like if you play Steyn City, and again, I'm super bleak. I haven't played it yet, but it's a carts only golf course. Is that right? Generally,
yeah.
If you were to play it like as a ordinary person, it'd be like playing Cotswold. It's not like you can be like, I'm not going to take a carts down. I'm just going to carry my bag. So with that in mind,
I would imagine it's a carts only course. I think that sounds right.
So with that in mind,
there's some big walks.
The golf course design is not there for a walk, so it's going to be a bit of a sweaty. It's going to be it's not there in Ben's top 5 walkable courses.
Yeah, I was actually standing on the 14th tee today, and there was a huge gap between the groups. And what's quite funny today in the pro-am is that the pros walk, but the amateurs are all in golf carts. Which is, I mean, I guess is maybe just trying to speed up pace of play and that. But obviously, I suppose the pros could take a golf cart if they wanted to, but they obviously don't like going in golf carts. So what happens is like, the amateurs all arrived on the 14th tee, but the 14th, between the 13th green and the 14th tee is like, it's like a proper hike up a hill. And yeah, like Joaquin Neiman like eventually came walking up with his whole like crew of dudes who was with him, which is a whole nother story. But I said to him, I was sort of jokingly said to the amateurs, I was like, yeah, I think you guys are on the clock now because you like a full hole behind.
For Echo.
Yeah. He was like, no, that's like a serious hike, like coming up that hill. Yeah, so I think they're probably going to have golf carts running them up and down there. During the tournaments, I'm sure. But just general impressions of the golf course, JDV. Very, pleasantly surprised actually. It seems to have a nice look, it's quite partitioned. Something that I didn't really realize before this week when I looked at the course on Google Earth, I didn't realize that this massive Yukskay River goes like straight through the middle of us. So the Yukskay River basically bisects.
Is that river reasonably clean at the moment, or does it stink? Because I mean, as we know, that Yukskay goes through most golf courses in Joburg, and you either it like looks beautiful, or it like you basically try and retrieve a ball from there and end up in hospital.
I don't condone anyone going for a swim in there. I think they have tried it, and I'm sure Steyn City in general, I don't think this is just a LIV thing. I'm pretty sure generally they're trying to keep that section of river as clean as possible. I think it's a challenge. And I think they're trying their hardest to make it look clean and make it look nice. So can probably leave it at that. I think it's not it's not Leopard Creek. But I've got some takes on that subject actually. But the course, the river kind of partitions the course a little bit. So you've got where the main entrance is now. Obviously, I don't know if people are aware. If you've played Steyn City before, you might be a bit confused. But the hole numbers don't line up at all with the actual hole numbers of Steyn City. I think they've shuffled them all around by about 7 or 8 holes. Like I don't actually know exactly what the first LIV hole is, what that number is for Steyn City. I wouldn't be able to tell you.
I think they said it was the 7th.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds about right, like 7 holes. Doesn't really matter where the shotgun starts. Essentially, they've done it because it's the entrance of the fan village, and it's where all the logistical stuff is. But that sort of top portion of the golf course is very walkable. There is obviously a gradual slope down to the river, but I think what will happen is that a lot of people are not going to cross the Yukskay this weekend to watch the golf on the other side. I think a lot of the comforts are on the top side. So I think a lot of people are not going to see the need to go for a walk across the bridge and across the river.
I was about to say there is a bridge. I mean, it's not like Oaks are waiting across the Yukskay to get to that.
Absolutely not. There's no way. There's no waiting going on. There's 2 bridges. Sort of in different locations. And look, I think the one reason why you might want to go across the bridge initially is to go to the driving range, because the driving range is actually near the clubhouse. So, when I say the clubhouse, it's down across the river, opposite to where the fan village and that is. And then look, what I'd be saying, JDV, is I think a lot of people are going to hang out at the sort of the main holes, and we can get into some of those holes now if you like. I know you had that as a discussion point for us. So I don't know, I can just dive into the holes.
Before you go there, T, I mean, would you say that that's a little tip? I mean, if you are wanting to sort of watch golf away from the crowds, I mean, you would want to cross that river and sort of get to the more inaccessible places to have a bit of, you don't want to be looking sort of 3 people, 4 people deep, trying to look over shoulders and heads to 100%. Try and, catch John Rahm or whoever it is teeing off. So you suggesting that, look, make a trek out, go find one of the sort of holes at the edge of the property there. And if you want to go and watch those guys, because I mean, the first, as you say, the 7th or the first hole and the sort of the holes around there, that's where it's going to be concentrated.
Yeah, it's a bit like the $1 million JDV at Sun City, where a lot of people will stick around sort of the 1st, the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, 16th, 17th, 18th at the $1 million. This is not that dissimilar. And if, you and I, whenever we've gone to the $1 million, we always like taking a nice stroll with the group and going out to the far sort of reaches of the course. And that's always quite rewarding because you get up close to the players and you always have nice vantage points in that. So I would definitely be advising guys to take a stroll and maybe pick up a group. And I'll go into it now, but there's 2 holes in particular that I saw today, which I think are going to be very entertaining holes, which is the 4th and the 5th hole, JDV. The 4th hole is a long par 5, and it's got a centerline tree hazard, which you know that I'm here for that. Really quite a nice architecturally. I actually really like the look of that hole. I didn't actually see any of the pros playing it, so I'm not 100% sure where the landing areas and that are going to be. But the thing that actually stuck out for me on that hole was that it just looks like quite a spectator-friendly hole. So, interestingly enough, having watched TPC Sawgrass on TV this last weekend, JDV, I think one of the things that stands out about that course is the sort of stadium golf effect that they built. They built TPC to have these big banks and stuff so that fans could sit along them. And there's a couple holes at Steyn City actually that have a similar effect. So, and this was one of them that I saw. So the 4th hole, it has just a nice big section of kind of bank on the right hand side, and they've got some nice trees dotted out there. I mean, it was hot today, so finding some shade is nice. There's a small little beverage tent out there adjacent to the 4th hole, so I think that's going to be a nice one to go and maybe grab something to eat, grab a drink, and just go chill out on the lawn and watch guys also hitting their second shots into a par 5, which is always entertaining. And then the 5th hole, JDV, I think is a real showstopper. So the 5th hole is a drivable par 4. I took a video of it today. It is 330 meters, 330 meters, which is 360 yards. But the two guys I saw playing it today both got to the green, JDV. These oaks are hitting it so far at altitude here. I think at altitude, 350 is the new 300. And that hole's got you got to cover water, and then there's a whole lot of bunkers around the greens. I would say 80% of the guys are going to be going for that green in one. So that's going to be, and there's also a nice bank on the right-hand side, so you can get under a tree there and just watch oaks bombing at that green. So those would be two holes that I would recommend away from the crowds. And then kind of the show-stopping holes, JDV, is definitely the 1st hole. I think the first tee box is going to be an awesome experience. It's another drivable par 4. So it's completely downhill. I think there's a few videos going around on socials now of Joaquin Neiman driving that green, and Bryson. It's like 380 or 400. It's a long way, but it's downhill, and it's obviously at altitude. And then obviously with the first tee vibes, JDV, I think I sent you guys that video on our WhatsApp group, but
the amateurs trying to hit it down the chute.
Shout out to the announcer, the DJ announcer today, because he was announcing and playing music like that stage was full, And the best part, you would have absolutely loved this, JDV, but obviously they asked all the amateurs that played today, they all had their own song, their own call-up song for when they were hitting their first tee shot. So you know how
T, please run me through some of the classic songs that Oaks picked. Someone could have gone properly left field and just been Enya, who can say when? Shit, that would have.
So I was standing there, and on the big screen, they also have the guy's name on the big screens. I look up on the board, and it says Derek de Vries, and I'm like, I was like, jeepers, there's some proper randoms in LIV Golf these days. And then I was like, oh, it's obviously the amateurs. JDV, you know how they announce the players here he is, he's won 2 US Opens, he's hailing from Texas and whatever. The guy was announcing the amateurs today
he's
that.
He's come second in his monthly mug at Brakpan Country Club, coming off a 4-ball scramble.
Well, that would actually be next level if they did that. But no, they were announcing it with their job title. So it was And here he is, the assistant wealth manager from Citadel Bank. And then this like Derek DeVries stands up and they start pumping music from Top Gun, which was pretty sick actually, and like obviously full ball while the Oak's hitting his golf shots. It was
on the
very,
spot.
Very
What would your walk-up song be?
I'd have to think about that one. I think probably something like Thunderstruck, probably like a...
Nah, that's unoriginal. Come on, man.
I know, but sorry. You put me on the spot here. Some sort of like hard, fast metal. What about you?
I mean, Infinity, the Guru Josh project's got a place in my heart from Varsity, so it might have to be Infinity.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I mean, I'd obviously give it some thought.
But let me give that a bit more thought as well. We can revisit that on the recap pod. But T, can I ask you a couple more questions, because I think there's a couple of things I need as the recce. Firstly, what's the what do they call it? The drinking hole, the party hole. Firstly, I'm super disappointed that they went with the Lion's Den. The pothole for me when they put that internet survey out, it had to be called the pothole for it to be in Gauteng and all the potholes that they have and the connotation with Oaks drinking pots in South Africa and it being called the pothole. I mean, it was just all of those
it was
puzzle pieces
nicely
falling into place. And I was just like, you guys have missed the opportunity. Look, Lion's Den, it's fine. But the pothole would have been absolute top notch. But what is the party hole like, T? And I think from that, I also want to know for my own sort of understanding, it just looks like there's a lot of hospitality around there. So I haven't done what you did and abused the media tickets, so I don't have general access to all the Lani places. I'm going to be just milling around, like where can I go and where can't I go? Because if I want to go get a beer, is it going to be an absolute bun fight, or is there quite a lot of access, do you think, for sort of the general admission?
No, there's very good access. Very good access. There's a massive fan village. There's lots of beverage spots dotted around. Yeah, I don't think you're going to have any issues.
So the pothole, I mean, can I go sit at the pothole? Or is that hospitality?
I think some of it is. Some of it is private. Some of it isn't.
Okay.
I don't know. I see Ben has joined our Instagram video, so maybe he knows more details than I do. But I think it's half and half, JDV. I hear you on the pothole. I think they've gone pretty mainstream when it comes to branding this thing from like a African LIV Golf perspective.
Do you think pothole would have been a bit too like meta inside joke for
bit too meta,
the international audience?
Yeah, I think they would have been like, okay.
Because it is a South African thing to call it pots.
You'll see everything is very much like we're in Africa. Yeah. And on that point, I think they could have released a couple of giraffe onto Stone City for the weekend. But yeah, there's some logistics around that and some legalities that I'm not clear on. But I don't think they would have gone. I think they could have fitted in there.
100%. Couple similar to the centerline trees, just a centerline giraffe.
Also, you have the river going through, which is an obvious layup to have some sort of like migration reenactment. If we'd released a few wildebeest, they could have made their way across multiple times. So potentially something to look forward to.
Wouldn't have been the
year.
crocodiles. The crocodiles wouldn't have taken them out. Like wildebeest would go across and just get dysentery and just die. But T, what are the prices like for drinks and sort of the concessions and that sort of thing? Is it super expensive? I mean, were you able to, did you buy a couple of drinks today? Does it change, or is it just there's a price today and the price changes vastly tomorrow and then basically surcharge like Uber?
JDV, I can't comment on prices. Sorry.
Come on, T. This is the digging you should have done.
No, you're right. You're right. I didn't go around like sort of to that level of detail. I was just trying to get, I'm pretty certain, regardless of what the prices are, that the beers will be consumed and purchased. I can't imagine they're going to be outrageous. So I wouldn't stress about it too much. Ben just commented, he says, your Enya loving mate has no access to the pothole. Sorry, JD.
Oh, shit. Okay. Is that because I like Enya or because I've got a general access ticket? That's a massive clarification.
Yeah.
T, the other thing I wanted to say is do you have a insight into the weatherman? What is the weather looking like? What should I be packing?
This is what's great about us being live, is that we can't edit out those big stumbles.
Yeah, I know. Well,
that empty bottle of wine there might have something to do with it.
Yeah, possibly just warming it up. But what's the weather like? Am I packing wet weather gear? Am I packing some open neck shirts, some booyah? Obviously, the Go Track shirts that we've got, I've got, and the floppies. Yeah, but
please,
is that the vibe, or are we?
Sorry, is this that was
just a little musical interlude? Is that your?
Yeah, just. It's like at the Oscars when you try to like stop the oak talking. I was just trying to like play you off the stage there. Please stop talking, JDV. Yeah, I'd say this live thing is going well. JDV, look, we had a hell of a storm there this afternoon. I put a little video up on our Instagram story. Like, it was a classic Joburg, like, oh, there's a big cloud, and then next thing, thunderclap, and then the wind picked up, and like within 5 minutes, like not even 5 minutes, it was like, it was pissing down like sideways. Like, I got so wet. I was completely soaked, like from head to toe. And luckily someone picked me up in a golf cart and like basically threw me into the back in the tent like a wet like seal. But
yes, where's this going?
Yeah, so I think that that's to be expected, and that's why they've moved the tee times ahead for tomorrow. But yeah, I think Oaks pack a light jacket and pack a brolly, I would say.
Should we have a quick squiz at, I know we said we were going to try and keep it to 30 minutes, but let's quickly look at
we're on 35
some of the marquee groups, who the groups are that you think we should follow. Do they mix the groups up every day? So it's different groups every day. But I think we can look for tomorrow, who's starting it off, where it's going to be, and then maybe some bold predictions.
JDV, do you have the groups in front of you there?
I do.
Okay, I've got. So you run me through your sort of. I guess those groups are only good for tomorrow. Do they reorder them every day based on the position? I'd imagine they would.
That's my question. I'm not sure, but anyway, let's deal with tomorrow. So
I think they do. So I think they get reshuffled every day. Based, obviously, there's no, the tee time's the same, so they're not trying to balance morning and afternoons and that. So I think they reorder based on scoring position. But there are some really nice groups they've put together. Which ones do you like the look of?
So obviously, the first one, Lee Westwood, John Rahm, Charles Schwartzel, John Rahm being the player that everyone's watching there. I think all of the Southern Guards players are playing with sort of big names, which is great because, the South Africans are going to be following South Africans. So you've got Louis Oosthuizen and Dustin Johnson and DeChambeau, Bryson, also playing in Group 2. So they've sort of packed it on the front and the back end. So if I go all the way to the last guys, so Group 18 and 19, and you can imagine they're going to come through quickly. So you've got Jaco Neiman, Dean Burmester, Thomas Dietrich, Bob Watson, Abe Anser, Graham McDowell, which are also pretty cool ones. So they'll come through. So those are the last two groups. But if they start at hole 18, the next hole will be hole 1. So there'll be quite lacquer groups coming through hole 1 if you sort of set yourself up there to watch. Some of the other less I mean, obviously they've got they've got Brandon Grace, Toro Hatton, and Harold Varner playing in a group together. So like I said, all the Saffers have been paired with pretty big names. I mean, I would quite like to watch. Just having a look here, Oliver Smiley, Anthony Kim, and Sergio Garcia. I think that's quite a cool one to watch. Obviously, AK making waves in Australia. Sergio Garcia. Oliver Smiley, an up-and-comer. So there's a couple of other good ones. Phil Mickelson, obviously he's back. He's playing for the first time on LIV this year. It's him, Taylor Gooch, and Carlos Ortiz. Again, Group 3 starting from hole 2. So if you sort of hanging around the first hole, at the end of the day, as you said, that's where all the hospitality is, the beer hole, the beer tent. I mean, that's where you can hang around and see those guys coming through at the end in hole 1, which will also be quite cool to watch.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose in some ways the cool thing about the shotgun start is that you can more or less go and set up anywhere you like on the golf course. And if you find a really comfy, nice spot and you've got a good vantage point, you're going to get every single group come past you, essentially from, through the day. So it's not like you're having to camp out and go ahead of groups and stuff and then sit there and wait for them to come through. I'd imagine that like the Rahms and Brysons, I think those two groups are going to pull probably the most crowds. I think everyone wants to see Bryson hit a drive, and hit watch John Rahm hit some shots. I actually walked with John Rahm and his amateurs today for a hole. And the guy was super relaxed. I think there's quite a thing about Rahm that he has this like super tense persona, and I think he does a lot of the time, especially when it comes to press. And obviously he's been poked a lot recently around the European tour and the fines that he hasn't been paying, and there's a lot of probably, I guess, tension around between him and them at the moment. But what I witnessed today from him was him being like super generous with his time with the amateurs that he was playing with. He was asking them questions. He was having photos like with their, friends, and like he was just sounded like he was very chilled and like in a good space. So, and then I think Joaquin Niemann as well. Like he's one of my favorite players to watch. I think he'll be a good one to go, and he's like a very interesting player, JDV. Interesting golf swing. Different. Got quite a laid out, chilled out, like surfer-ish vibe about him. I really like Niemann. I actually spoke to him today, and I asked him what does this golf course remind him of? Like, could he pinpoint anything? And he actually said to me, he said, funnily enough, the grass here is exactly the same or very similar to the grass that they mostly play on in South America. And he said that so essentially the Kikuyu is native to a lot of the South American golf courses as well. When I say native, I actually think it was brought to like South Africa. I think originally it comes from like East Africa or something, and it was brought to Southern Africa and to South America to the golf courses like at the same time. So, and what's interesting about that is that a lot of American players have never played, if they haven't played in South Africa before, they've never played on, and they find it quite difficult to deal with because the rough is, I did hear from somebody else today that the players were quite unhappy with that they're finding the rough quite challenging. Not unhappy, but they've just commented that the rough, there's some really tough spots to get into the rough. And obviously, as we know with that Kikuyu, it can really like grip the golf club. And then the other thing, and funny enough, JDV, Patrick Reed commented on this at the SA Open, and that he said that he was battling with his iron play at the SA on this grass because he said what happens is Kikuyu is compared to sort of other fairway grasses in that it's like a little bit more spongier. So what tends to happen is the ball sits up on the grass like a bit higher. And like obviously for the average Joes like you and me, we don't really notice that when it comes to like our ball striking. But for these guys who like finding the same like few millimeters every time, he was saying that the ball was hitting a lot higher up on his club face and he was really struggling a little bit with his irons. And so maybe JDV, the South American guys, having played on Kikuyu, may be interesting to look at. Maybe there'll be a slight advantage to them. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe there's just not that much in it. But it was an interesting thing that Neiman said, that he said, actually, this grass is similar to what they play in Mexico and in South America. And then he said the course kind of reminded him of a golf course that he played in Texas, in Austin, Texas. He said similar sort of like slow undulating kind of terrain. He said just visually it looks a little bit like that. That was kind of his comp. So
your bold prediction is someone from the Southern Hemisphere to win LIV South Africa.
That sounds good. I like that. I don't think the Aussies. I'm just going to take all the Aussies off the board. I'm going to say my bold prediction is
South America.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Let me keep it a little bit more open. Let me say someone from the Southern Hemisphere. That sounds good.
That's not very bold. Okay, so maybe give something a bit bolder. Bold. Like,
I think it's pretty bold. There's not that many guys from the Southern Hemisphere playing.
So how do you think Southern Guards, RIP Stingers, get it done? Do they get the W on home turf for the inaugural event, or is the pressure too much? Is this an Ernie Els take where you're like, Ernie Els at the SA Open? I mean, you're going to be chilling with his mates. They're all going to want to have a bottle of wine or a brandy and Coke or a beer or two. Is there too much going on for the South African golfers to get it done, or are they super?
I don't think so. I think
focused.
I think they're very motivated. So I don't think we're in the Ernie Els territory here in terms of access to brandy and Cokes and a wine farm close by. I would say you'd have to say they're going to compete. I really feel like they should. Familiar with this type of golf course. I know a couple of them had said that they hadn't actually played like competitive golf on this golf course. But yeah, I do think like the grass type makes a difference, having played in that before. You'd have to think with the fan supports. I'm going to say that they'll definitely be on the podium. I'm going to, if they get it done, that would be amazing. But I reckon they'll be in the top 3 teams.
And golfer, who wins?
Somebody from the Southern Hemisphere, JDV. I just told you.
You got to go.
I'm gonna say Neiman.
Okay, I like that.
I'm gonna say Neiman. I liked the look of him today. I liked watching him, and I think he's got a good shot, and he's been playing. Actually, I'm not going to say he's been playing well because I don't actually know what his results have been, but I've got a good feeling about him.
T, I think let's try and wrap it up here. Is there any other bold predictions or tidbits that we need to know about before I get there, before everyone else gets there? I mean, I imagine Saturday is going to be the massive day, but obviously guys will start pumping in there from tomorrow to watch the competitive golf. Anything else? I mean, what's your predictions or tidbits that we need to know?
I had just one more other note that I thought was really important to fill you in on, JDV. I did have a parakeet sighting out there today.
It got lost from Glendower, orbed around, found its way to Steyn City.
Look, there aren't as many big trees, so I don't think the parakeets have fully moved in and taken over. But what I will say is, so I'd say the hardy-dar to parakeet ratio is still pretty strong in favor of the hardy-dars.
God, and that is a good prediction. John Rahm fucks up a shot because a hardy dog goes off on his backswing while he's coming down the stretch under like intense pressure.
Look, I saw a lot of hardy dogs out there today, so it's gonna happen. I don't know whether anyone asked them about this in the press conference. Yeah, so just from a nature perspective, I wanted to share that with you. And then I think it's going to be great. Honestly, everyone seems like pretty psyched up for it. Players seem pretty psyched up. Really looking forward to being there and watching it. As I've said, I've had some issues with. I still have some concerns when I watch LIV on TV. I think a lot of the stuff has got better. But as an event to attend and as a spectacle, and I think it's going to be awesome. And JDV, just to say, guys, if you did, or if you, I don't think we've had a huge amount of. I see we've had a lot of people who've clicked on our live video, and then I think the general like poor quality of the experience has scared them away.
We'll get back to that,
guys. This is literally what did you call it? This is a proper beta test.
Beta testing. We
really have no idea what we're doing. We're doing remotes. Just doing a remote podcast for us is like a pretty impressive thing. So I'm gonna end that live stream now, guys. But thanks to everyone who popped in. I'm sure we'll get better at doing that. I don't think we'll do it that often, but we just thought since this is a preview for tomorrow, that it might be fun. So thanks for joining. And JDV, I don't think there's anything else. Looking forward to catching up with you.
Yeah, T-Bag, I will see you on Friday. That's when we will be there. So arriving tomorrow evening, and super, super, super excited. I'm excited. It's going to be epic.
Cool, bro. All right. Thanks, guys. Ciao, ciao.
Cheers, T.